Welcome to Lighting for Profits.
All light, all light, all light.
Powered by Emery Allen.
Get rid of your excuses.
Your number one source for all things landscape lighting.
That's where the magic can happen. You can really scale a business.
We really had to show up for each other.
From lighting design, install, sales, and marketing.
You're a scaredy cat salesman, Kurt.
We discussed everything you need to know to start and grow a successful landscape lighting business.
What do you think a hippo has to do with your business, Ryan?
Usually it's some weird childhood thing. Some bully kicked your butt.
I think the key factor here is trust.
Here is your host, Ryan Lee.
All light, all light, all light. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the number one landscape lighting show in Sacramento, California. Man, we are going worldwide. Got a lot of people following us from all sorts of towns and municipalities around the country. So excited, you guys. If you're looking to start or grow a landscape lighting business, you're definitely in the right place. We are here to motivate. We're here to educate, to help you dominate. So we got a great show lined up. We got the one, the only Mrs. Is it Mrs. or Miss? Crap, I suck at this. Meaghan Likes is coming on, and she's a friend of the show. I'm a fan of hers. If you've listened to the show before, you've heard from her. She's amazing. She owns a bunch of businesses. She's super nerdy when it comes to numbers, but she makes it fun and she makes it interesting and she makes it practical because she has that real world business knowledge. So we're going to dig into some of her top KPIs on things that you should be measuring in your business to help you get traction. So I'm excited to have her on. So make sure you stick around. A couple of quick announcements. I'm still begging, pleading for your 5-star reviews. Okay. I can't just send you an automated thing from Nice Job or anything like that and get your reviews. But if you want to do me a favor, just go to Apple or Spotify and give me that 5 stars. Write something nice if you've gotten value from the show. Thank you for those of you that have already done that. I really appreciate it. We're always trying to grow the show. And plus, it just feels good to be validated. So please hook me up with one of those 5-star reviews. A couple of major announcements. If you've not heard yet, we've launched 2 new things. We've got Light It Up Expo coming up February 28th, March 1st, Orlando, Florida. We're part of the Home Service Workshop. So if you want to get information on Light It Up, just go to lightitupexpo.com. And what this is, you guys, this is so exciting. It's a first of its kind where we're bringing together landscape lighting, holiday lighting, permanent lighting, and event lighting all under one roof. Okay, no one's ever done this. Everyone has cool seminars and trainings and stuff, but they're on their own on an island. We're bringing everyone together. So if you want to bolt on landscape lighting or holiday lighting or permanent lighting or event lighting, or you want to bring your team and get them trained, and you want to meet with vendors and you want to rub shoulders with these elite people doing millions of dollars a year, you got to be at Light It Up Expo. Get your ticket now because we're doing early bird pricing that will go up. Okay, we're going to be talking about pricing today. I'm going to raise my price. So go to lightitupexpo.com. And I'm so excited about that, you guys. Check that out. Also, Lighting Academy. We launched Lighting Academy, which is also the first of its kind. It's an online course and also training, right? And so it's not just a course, but you have access to weekly calls where you can get support with your lighting design, your lighting installation, where we have coaches and mentors that have been in the industry over 25 years handling these calls, handling your questions. So if you want information on that, go to lightingacademy.net. And I'm so excited for that. Let me know what you guys think. Go to lightingacademy.net. Music. All right, guys, you know this. Performance matters for a lot of things, including the lighting you use. So don't sell yourself short with your customer by using budget level products. Emery Allen is at the top of their game when it comes to performance. Take their VA rating, for example, it's the lowest in the industry. Well, what does that mean? It means efficiency. So with a low volt ampere rating, you're able to drive more bulbs on a circuit with a given transformer rating. With lower quality bulbs and the same transformer, you're not going to be able to put as many lights on the same circuit. So make the switch today to Emery Allen. It's a great time to do it. You won't be disappointed. A lot of people have made the switch already. If you haven't, all you need to do is email Tom G at emeryallen.com, and he will hook you up with your contractor pricing. Mention that you heard about him here on Lighting for Profits to get that discount. Don't go to their website because I'm telling you, you're going to get the hookup by emailing Tom G at emeryallen.com, Tom G at emeryallen.com. And they have some sexy lamps. That single source LED is super smooth at night. So go check it out. All right, guys, remember in just a couple minutes, we got Meaghan Likes coming on, and we're this is not going to be a boring, nerdy financial episode. We're going to dig into these top metrics that you need to be using in your business to make smart financial decisions to help you move forward and help you drive success. And it's not that there's ever a bad time to do it, but this is probably the best time to do it because the economy seems to be shrinking a little. People are struggling a little bit more than they were with leads and everything else. So we need more than ever data to make right decisions. And Meaghan's probably like, who is this guy talking about this? Because I'm not normally the data guy. But I'm telling you, you're not going to want to miss this episode. Before I have her on, is it okay if I give you guys some real world advice real quick? I came across this quote from Jim Rohn the other day, and he said, if you really want to do something, you'll find a way. If you don't, you'll find an excuse. And that hit hard because I'm guilty of this, right? But I see so many people making excuses. Every week I get the opportunity to talk to business owners. And to be honest, I hear a lot of the same excuses. The leads have slowed down. I can't charge higher prices, not in my market. I can't close as many deals as I used to. And you know what I think when I hear these excuses? BS. They're excuses. That's literally what they are. It tells me that people don't really want what they say they want bad enough. And I like that quote from Jim Rohn. If you really want something, you'll find a way. If you don't, you'll find an excuse. And so if we find ourselves making excuses, we got to ask ourselves a question. Do we really want what we say we want as bad as we want? One of probably my favorite quote of all time is Henry Ford. Whether you think you can or think you can't, you're right. And my kids probably can't stand this quote because it comes up probably on the daily in my house. But let me add to that quote. Believing that you can is way more profitable than believing that you can't. Okay. And so many people don't believe in themselves and they don't believe in their offering. And to be honest, most people don't even know what they're going after. They don't know what they're chasing. And so if you don't know what you're chasing, then how are you supposed to believe in it? How are you supposed to believe in yourself? I mean, when have you really sat down and asked yourself, like, why are you doing this? Why are you torturing yourself? Because let's be honest, being an entrepreneur sucks a lot of the time, especially in the early stages when you don't know what you're doing. Okay. And the first couple of years, you kind of lie to yourself because you're like, sweet freedom, I'm finally doing my thing. But after a while, let's face it, like it's not easy. And so like, why are you doing what you're doing? Is it better to just get a job, or is there a better way for you to be a better entrepreneur? And so here's the truth. Thoughts lead to beliefs. Beliefs leads to actions, and actions lead to results. And so many people are worried about the results. They're just constantly focus on the result, focus on the result, focus on the result. And they're forgetting about these three things that happened before that, when you should be worried about your thoughts. Okay. So even right now, as you're listening to this, if you're thinking negative thoughts like, oh, here we go again. Here's Ryan talking about mindset. When's he going to actually give me something practical? How am I going to raise my price? How am I going to get more leads? Right? Your thoughts are already in the negative. And so what is going to follow is negative beliefs, negative actions, negative results. Are you with me? And so what are your thoughts about? Like, how often do you have positive thoughts? How often do you have negative thoughts? What is going on in your mind, your brain every single day? What's going on in your mind right now? Okay. What are your beliefs? Do you think that people won't pay $500 a light? Because guess what? You're right. If you think they won't pay $500 a light, they're not going to. And I've got clients that used to think that they couldn't charge $500 a light, and now they're charging $600 a light. So they were able to overcome their thoughts, their beliefs, right? And so as long as you think that, you'll believe that. And as long as you believe that, you won't ask for $500 a light. And as long as you're not asking for $500 a light, you're not going to get the results. Okay. And this isn't just a one-time thing like, okay, well, I'm going to try it. I'm going to do what I can. I'm going to go ask for $500 a light, because even that has doubt in it, right? You can't have doubt. You have to go all in on this. And so just because you try it once and it doesn't work, doesn't mean it doesn't work. It just means it didn't work the way you did it. Okay. And I'll tell you, the longer I'm doing this, I'm seeing the same trends for people. The same trends for people that are struggling, and the same trends for people that are gaining traction and gaining momentum in their business, regardless of the economy, regardless of the city they're in or location or anything like that. And it comes down to the same things over and over and over. So let's take an example. Let's say you want to do $1 million a year. That seems to be the first goal for people. Like, how do I get my lighting business to do $1 million a year? If you're already there, well, maybe you want to add another $1 million a year. Go through this example. Stop overcomplicating it. Okay. Start thinking and believing it. Start thinking and believing it. And this is a simple formula to succeed. Okay. So you want to do $1 million, and let's say your average job is $10,000. Well, that means you only need 100 people. It's like you only need 100 people to give you $10,000 to make $1 million. So why are you complicating it? Like, it's not that crazy. So let's say you're in a northern climate, you're in one of the northern states, which means you have 8 months to generate that $1 million. You have 8 months to generate 100 clients. So that's 12.5 clients per month, or 3.125 clients per week. That seems a lot more possible than $1 million. Like, when you think of about $1 million, like, how am I going to do $1 million? I'm at 0 right now. Well, your goal is to get 3 clients per week. So now your focus, your thoughts, your beliefs are, what are you doing every single day, every single week to get 3.1 clients per week? That is the only thing you're focused on. And if your closing rate is 50%, then how are you going to get 6.5 leads per week? How are you going to get 25 leads per month? Okay. No more distractions. No more thinking, well, maybe I should be doing this. I heard there's a webinar on lighting design. Oh, I heard there's a webinar on this. No, your goal, your problem right now is, how do I get 25 leads per week? That is the only thing you focus on. And if you don't think you can do that, you're not going to do it. If you think you can, and you believe that all you have to do is get 25 leads per month into your system, to your ecosystem, and you're going to close 50%, you just made $1 million, not profit. We're going to talk about profit later. Okay. But the first goal is revenue. Okay. Now, let's say, now there's a couple tweaks. There's a couple levers you can pull here. Maybe you're like, I don't know, man, 100. I don't know how I'm going to do that. Right. And let's stick with the 8-month economy. Okay. Some of you are in southern states, and these numbers are like way easier if you have 12 months. Okay. But let's just make it a little bit harder on ourselves and say we have 8 months. Let's say, you know what? I don't know if I want to try for 100. Well, then you can increase your price. You can increase your average ticket to $20,000. When you do that, you only need 50 people, guys. You only need 50 people to give you $20,000, make $1 million. So now your goal is to get 6.25 clients per month, or 1.56 per week. That's it. You only need 1 to 2 people a week to give you 20,000 to make your $1 million. Okay. And that's if you're closing at 50%. So another lever could be like, well, let's increase our closing rate. Okay. Play with these numbers, increase our closing rate, raise our price, average ticket. All these things are easy ways to solve simple problems. Okay. Or maybe complex problems to you. And that's what you solve. So why are you thinking about anything else? Okay. Stop thinking about things that might not happen, because what happens when they do? Like, what happens when success comes? Okay. And too many people are thinking negative thoughts. They're believing negative things, and they're not taking the right action. So, few levers to focus on: premium pricing. And this is what we do in our landscape lighting secrets. It's all about premium pricing out of the gate. If we can help you raise your price, you're going to have more money to invest back into your business, into hiring better talent, into paying for more advertising. But premium pricing is number one. Number two, high quality leads. Okay. If your goal is just to get leads, then who cares? You're just wasting time. High quality leads. And finally, closing deals on the spot, because anything under 20,000, you can definitely close on the spot in 60 minutes. If you're overcomplicating it and you're focused on, well, I gotta get a better design, and no, you don't. Like, it's a very simple sales process to get someone excited about lighting, close them on the spot, and move on. Too many people are overcomplicating their sales presentation, trying to get more leads. Why? Who cares about more leads if you're not closing the ones you're getting? And then you're just thinking, oh, I just need help. And then you hire anyone. So recruiting is like a whole nother thing in training and building culture and all that stuff. But I just want to encourage you guys, keep it simple. Okay. Control your thoughts, control your beliefs. If you think that you can do this, because all you need to do is get, 12.5 leads per month to make $1 million, then you can do it. If you're already doubting yourself right now, it's not going to happen. So the cool thing is, you guys get to decide right now if it's a priority for you or not. Okay. I can't force these decisions on you. You have to be the one to step up and say, okay, I'm going to give this a shot. I'm going to have positive thoughts. I'm going to believe I can do this. And that's where it all starts, because it doesn't start with your results. All right, I did it. I got off my chest. Let's get Meaghan coming on. You guys ready? I am. Let's go. What is up, Meaghan Likes?
Hello, Ryan Lee.
Hey,
How are
hey,
you?
hey. I'm good. How are you?
I'm great. Do you do that every week?
I go off. Yeah. I just have my weekly rant.
What is that called? Ryan's rant? Is that what it's called? The rant of Ryan? The
It could be.
ranting Ryan? Like what it's a mindful moment. Like I didn't know you did that every week. I don't know how many times on the show, but I've never paid attention. I've apparently just zone out usually. That was great.
Yeah.
I took notes.
It's just whatever's on my mind, and like if it's common trends, or like if I have a strategy session with someone, or just something fires me up where I'm like, guys, this is it. I figured out the secret. They're like, what's the secret? I'm like, this is it. It's mindset. It's thoughts and beliefs.
I love that. I just came off of a week. I was in Atlanta last week and we were doing this goal setting, budgeting, strategic planning workshop. And it was 3 days. And every single person cried, equal men and women. And I have not been in I was doing a budgeting workshop, guys, budgeting with like numbers and spreadsheets and but what we did differently is we started with the why, we started with the mindset, and it's so funny if we could just shift it, if we could attach. Somebody said that we were attaching dreams to dollars. If we could attach your
Nice.
dreams to your dollars, then suddenly it's not just a spreadsheet. Suddenly it's like your nights, your weekends, your time with your kids. It's like your kids' college tuition. It's your dream house. It's so much more than just numbers on a page. And so when you were speaking, I was like, wow, people love to overcomplicate it. I personally don't love that he used the $1 million business, because I think the $1 million business is just stupid and it should die. It's this unicorn that everybody keeps saying is like, oh yeah, that's my dream, because it's what my dream should be. And
Yeah.
so I'm just gonna edit Ryan's rant slightly and say, insert your goal here, whatever that goal is. And I just had a client hit their first $1 million week, and they're going to hit their first $1 million net month. And so even if it's $1 million, because Ryan and I always talk about our private jet, he's going to buy a private jet that's going to take me around everywhere. That's the deal that we've negotiated, right, Ryan? Remember that?
I don't know. Was this written down somewhere?
It was. I think we had a contract. But when Ryan and I are talking about our collective private jet, it's going to require more than $1 million business. And so I just want you to think, you listener, after that wonderful Ryan rant, about why did you start? Why do you keep going? And why are you working so hard? And I feel like the mindset part, if we can anchor back to those things, root back to that part, I agree that it has to have a revenue goal, but it's usually so much more than revenue. It's usually freedom, right? Time freedom. Ryan and I talk a lot about time freedom. We compete about who can work less. We both lose regularly.
No, I'm losing. No, you might be losing. I don't know.
I don't know, but this is the fun part about business. And so what I heard you say is what I think you want to talk about today, which is we have lots of options. We have lots of levers that we can pull. There are lots of things that we can do. And before we get into all those strategies, I just want the listener to kind of sit with what you said, which is keep it simple. Don't overcomplicate it. What's important to you? What's stressing you out right now? And we're going to give you some laundry list things to go pull. So levers you can go pull to fix that thing. But just because it's what your neighbor's working on, just because it's what somebody in your mastermind group is working on, doesn't mean that needs to be your next problem to solve. So that's what I love about KPIs is I get to sit down with my team and be like, what's hurting us the most right now? And what do we want to go fix? Right? Or what's giving us the most potential right now? And what do we want to go make better? That's the beauty of numbers. They don't have feelings. There's no feelings in the numbers.
I love it. Well, so you came on, it's probably been a couple months now, and did this training for us, Inside Landscape Lighting Secrets. And I was, I'm a learner. I usually take notes, even if like it's kind of a boring presentation. I still try to find one or two things. But this, I don't even know what it was called, a webinar, a discussion, whatever you did, it was phenomenal. Like it was literally one of my favorite ones. And I learned so much. And one of the things that I got out of it was that it was like, well, you need to, because I just want to go sell. I just want to grow. I don't want to do KPIs. That sounds so stupid, right? And you converted me on this call because I was like, okay, this is how you this is how you decide what problems to solve. And I feel like I'm a pretty good representation of your average just lighting guy, business guy who is just succeeded because of grit, like I'll just outwork, outperform, whatever. But man, it was cool to hear that. And for me, it was like it was a learning moment for me to be like, okay, this is how we decide, because so many people are solving problems that don't matter right now. And they feel good because it's like kind of an easier one to solve sometimes. That's why I think that we do it. But it's like, why are you doing that? And we just went through the thing. Your KPI is low here. This is the one thing you need to solve. And then you also brought up, just do the easy one first. Like, and it was awesome because it was really spoke to me. I was like, wait a minute. I think I meant to have Meaghan come on and do this training for our group, but somehow it turned into a session for Ryan Lee.
And it's a session for me too. I think there's a couple things that's common denominators about entrepreneurs. So if you're listening to this and you haven't fully like resolved yourself to being an entrepreneur, like the sooner you can get there, the better. You are. If you're in business, you're a business owner. And if you're not having fun being a business owner, then you should go get a job because this is hard, right? But if you are going to keep staying business as a business owner, then you're an entrepreneur. And so we should probably start like thinking about ourselves as entrepreneurs. And one of the beautiful things about entrepreneurs is they have grit, like Ryan just said. They tend to be lucky. They tend to have a lot of confidence. They tend to be aggressive. And they're really, really good problem solvers. So what I like about this is, especially as a coach or consultant, and like I have my own imposter moments, like having a client break $1 million week, like I was like, oh shit, do I even have a right to be the person that they're paying the tens of thousands of dollars to tell them what to do next? And the reality is that's all I'm doing is I'm being like, I don't know anything about that business because I'm in a lot of different industries. That's not my job. My job is to be like, so how'd it go, guys? Okay, that didn't work. So what are we going to try different? Okay, so how are we going to try that? I mean, a lot of coaching is that, and effective coaching. And we can coach ourselves. We can be in coaching groups like Landscape Lighting Secrets, but effective coaching is actually not coming up with the suggestions. It's figuring out what's your lowest hanging fruit to go do next. What's the easiest win that will impact the thing that you're trying to impact next? So Ryan doesn't want this to be all ethereal and he doesn't want it to be all fluffy. He really likes it to be actionable, like give me the meat and potatoes. So let's take an imaginary listener who's listening to this, and maybe you're sitting there thinking, I'm having a hard time paying myself. Or maybe you're sitting there thinking, I don't have enough money in my bank account. Like I'm feeling squeezed. Or maybe you're sitting there thinking, I don't have enough time with my family and I don't know if I can afford to hire somebody, right? Like, are those, what else
Those
do
are
we throw in
normal.
there, Ryan?
Those
What
are
else do we
great.
throw in there? Okay, those are pretty
That's
common.
perfect. Yep.
And Ryan and I have both been in all three of those spots. Well, I'll speak for myself. Ryan, you can speak for you. But me, Meaghan Likes, I've been in all three of those camps at some point over the course of my entrepreneurial journey.
See, for me,
Ryan?
it's just been easy. I've never had challenges. Yeah.
This is the mediocre white guy, and you're just like born with this. You're just like lucky forever and ever. Like you got it dialed in. I'm sorry. For the listeners, know that we love each other. It go way back. I didn't actually mean that. He really does work hard and tries hard. But let's be real. Have you had any of those?
Are you kidding me? Yeah, I've been in all those shoes. Like,
Okay.
like last week.
Okay, yeah, like yesterday.
Yeah.
Okay. You had so many good quotes, and like if you don't want to quit, you're doing something wrong. Isn't that one of the quotes? Like, or if you're not trying hard enough, like this is hard work. So let's talk through those three examples. And one of the things that I like about when Ryan and I come together is I like sales, like make me cringe a little bit. They make me nervous. Like I'm not a natural saleswoman. And Ryan, he's like, I just want to go sell. I just want to go outsell. And I am like, no, I want to crunch the numbers and I want to make sure it's profitable. And then Ryan cringes usually. He's like, no, I just want to go sell.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah, but I'm seeing the light. Oh, do you hear that? Didn't.
I did.
I'm seeing the light, and that's why I know what
just
I
got it.
need. I just don't want to do it. Like I don't want to. I still know that KPIs are good. I've always known that. Before I knew you, I knew they were good. But I still don't want to do it. I just want to.
But this is where we're not attaching the dream to the dollar.
Yeah.
Like I think we have to attach the dream to the dollar. So why I think there were so many tears at my workshop last week is I made every single person in the room start with a personal budget. And I made them do it together right then in that moment. Because what I have found after, over 2 decades working one-on-one with entrepreneurs and a lot of failed entrepreneurs, like 75% of business owners fail. And I have coached through some failures. Like it's hard. When we say this is hard, we mean it's hard and the odds are stacked against you. But when they fail, I'd say almost always it's because they run out of money.
Yep. That's literally the number one. People don't know that when you start a business, your only thing that you have to do is not run out of money.
And you get to keep playing another day. You get to keep get to keep going, right? But if you run out of money, then it's game over. It's like, and we don't get the 3 lives from like Mario Kart or something. Like you're just game over at the end. You ran out of money.
That'd be cool. We should do. Remember, did you know the 30 life code from Contra? Up, down, down.
No,
Left, right. BA, select, start.
No idea what you're saying.
That's a whole nother episode on Nintendo.
Okay.
But yeah, that's the thing. We don't. We have like one business life, unless we have like a rich uncle or something like that. But if you did, you wouldn't be listening to this podcast. Like people don't come here because they're successful. Like
or independently wealthy, usually.
Yeah, they're successful, but they haven't achieved the level of success that they know they're capable of.
Okay, so let's live here for a minute of not running out of money, and really, this is the hardest part, is like facing it, like getting your head out of the sand. I literally had a talk with one of my favorite small business owners this morning, like very early, and I was like, "You are stuck, and you are ostriching, and you have to get your head out of the sand today. Like, I'm not coming back on Wednesday if you're not going to get your head out of the sand." And the head out of the sand moment is like, it'll be fine. And this is where Ryan and I kind of conflict, because like Ryan will be like, I'll just sell one more. Like I'll just sell another one. Like
Absolutely.
I'll just outsell the problem. Like
Yes.
that is his philosophy. And Mike McCallis has a quote that says, you can't outsell an unprofitable business model, because eventually someday it's going to catch up with you. So let's forget profits right now, and let's start with like the end in mind. And to me, the most basic need end in mind is feeding our family. So if we as entrepreneurs can't sit down and like figure out how much do we need every month to feed our family, then we're setting ourselves up to fail. Like it's a guessing game that we're never going to get right.
And I agree with this, by the way. And I think I was fortunate enough and lucky enough potentially that, like, I do agree with what Mike said. Like I'm not going to sell out of myself out of a non-profitable thing, but even when I wasn't charging a premium price, I was charging a premium price. You know what I mean? Like I've always been able to make enough money to like muddy the numbers. But I'm telling you, the more I get into it and the more I do a budget, a personal budget, a business budget, then it's like, okay, now all of a sudden the problems are glaring. So I like this. Keep going.
Well, and I just like getting to terms with what you need to do. Like, what do you actually need to bring home? And then it gets quite simple, because then we can throw away that $1 million unicorn business and can be like, I had a couple of business owners. I had one woman, and I think she'll be fine with me saying this. I'm not gonna say her name or her business or where she is, but she does over 4 million a year in revenue. And when we got through the personal budget and got through the simplified business budget, she actually dialed back her gross revenue goal, because she didn't have to push so hard. And she could, if she wanted to. She got to see all the pretty, I showed them what their cash balance would be 15 months from now if we pushed through it. But she also got to decide if she wanted to like take her foot off the gas just a little bit. And to me, that's the power of numbers. Like the power of numbers is knowing, where are you going? Like, what do you want to do? And then building an entire business around that. Like, how much money do you need to feed your family? Question number one. Then okay, how do we need to structure it? How do we need to price it to be able to achieve that outcome? And that's what I like about Ryan's pricing methodologies is they have nothing to do with the industry. They have nothing to do with your neighbors. They have nothing to do with your competition. They completely have to do with you as a person, as an individual. Like there were people in the room last week that had 6 kids. Their personal budgets were bigger than people that had 2 kids, right? Like your personal budget drives your pricing. And we get confused by that. Like you might be listening to me like, this lady's a whack job. But here's the reality. Like if you can't feed your family, then you probably need to go do something else. Or we can dig deep and figure out how we can build a business that will feed your family. And I wish that we did not skip go. We did not I wish that we started here. And if you're listening to this, you probably didn't start here. So now we have to start here. But it's good news because it's fourth quarter. It's the perfect time. Everybody loves to talk about budgeting right now.
Yeah.
For 9 months, I'm tapping on my head and nobody wants to talk about budgeting. But now in October, suddenly every week I'm booked for a budgeting workshop, right?
Well, and budgets are, people don't want to do budgets because they know that their head has to come out of the sand and that they can't buy a hot tub. They can't go on vacation. It's a very limiting thing to them. Talk about how it doesn't have to be like that, how it can be an empowering tool.
I love it. You made light sound sexy earlier. You had a couple of innuendos that were a little bit borderline. I was like, what is going on? This is how I feel about budgeting. You said mindset earlier, right? We could look at that as that is a limiter, that is going to put us in a box. And as entrepreneurs, we don't want to be put in a box. Or you could look at it as monopoly money. For me, when I play with budgets, I think about how I get to spend my money, how I get to direct my money. I could have in my budget that private jet next year. I could budget for that.
Yep.
I could have in that budget next year a new house. I could have in that budget next year that I want to take an 8-week vacation on a beach somewhere. I get to choose how I want to budget. And when I take back the power of the budget instead of it telling me what to do, I love this expression. It's I like to tell my money where to go instead of wondering where it went. And the way I tell my money where to go is through a budget. I direct it. I choose which direction it's going to go. And so I hope that you're feeling, and if you want, we'll put in the show notes, I've got a super simple personal budget worksheet. And the rule is you can't spend more than 10 minutes on it. So a lot of us, we just overthink the crap out of it, right? We're oh, let me pull up my bank account. And I make people do pencil to paper budgets. No computers or phones allowed. This is a test. Do you know how much money you're spending? And if you don't, guess what? Doesn't matter. You did your first budget and it's going to be wrong. And you got that out of the way.
It's
and your
definitely going to be wrong.
Better. And
I
that's
promise
okay.
you, everyone thinks they're spending way less than they are.
But that's a great exercise.
Myself included, because I just went and figured out what my expenditures were. And I was like, dang it. I thought I knew stuff.
Yeah, well, there you go. But now you know more stuff than you did before you started that exercise. So I love that. Okay, so first step, do the personal budget. The next step is do the business budget. And the business budget for me is so fun because that's when we get to choose how much revenue do we want to do. So if you want to do the $1 million business, that's fine. We are here to do the math with you. We are here to cheerlead you. That's all fine.
It doesn't have to be. It doesn't. It could be a 500K. It could be 500 million. I don't really care what the number is.
It could be 100K.
It's math. It's just math. That's all.
Well, and it's the math that's right for you and your family and your situation. So I start with the business, start with the personal, then figure out the business to feed the personal, like that. So once you get to the business budget, then we get to start playing with the KPIs because that's what's going to start showing you it was so fun. The way the budget works, we can actually do a business budget in less than 10 minutes also. People will spend 3 days doing a budget workshop. And I'm like, no, really? Give me 20 solid minutes of your full attention with your personal budget dialed in, and I can do a business budget. So I'm going to walk your listeners through how they do a business budget in 10 minutes. Is that okay?
Love it.
We're not even going the direction you wanted to go. But Here's the thing. They should totally join Landscape Lighting Secrets so that they can watch the full KPI worksheet with the slides and all of that. They should do that. We'll give them good free advice here on budgets.
Yeah, it really is helpful because you can pause and rewind and all that stuff. But this is perfect. I'm still going to ask you a couple more things after this, but
That's fine. That's
let's
fine. But I got to get through this. I got to get this off my chest. This is like a Ryan rant via Meaghan. Is that, can I say that? Is that allowed? Okay. All right. So here's how budgets work. It's the craziest thing. You really just need like 4 inputs to make a budget. 4 inputs. So input number 1 is you need to know how much does it cost you to deliver something. So what is your cost of goods sold as a percentage? Can you give them an idea for landscape lighting people? Like what's a good target cost of goods sold?
yeah,
I'm sorry to put you on the spot, but
I'm literally taking notes. Remind me, are we doing labor in there as well?
yeah, if you can do it.
Okay. So 40, we'll put 40% in COGS.
Okay, so your target cost of goods sold is 40%. If you don't know what yours is, borrow Ryan's. If your financial statements don't tell you that, call me and have Likes Accounting do your books because we would love to fix that for you. But your book should tell you the story of how much money do I have to spend in order to make money. So our target cost of goods sold, we're going to say is 40%.
And we're just
for
basing
the
that.
vocabulary lesson. Yeah, go ahead.
We're just basing that based on like, okay, if you sell a job, you have to buy materials. You have to pay for materials and you have to pay for labor. So again, if you are a one-man show, your COGS might be less because you're not paying someone labor to install it. This is kind of a whole nother shindig if we're going to pay ourselves and stuff like that. But also, this is why I'm always like such a pricing snob, is because you can actually change your COGS percentage based on your pricing. Like you can make that number go down really fast just by raising your price. So typically people bragging online are not charging a very high price and they're bragging about profits that are unreal. They're basically just they're saying their COGS is like, oh, just take out my 20% for materials and I'm a billionaire. But they don't really truly understand accounting.
Right. So Ryan and I would love to help you if that seemed confusing to you. But basically, the idea is for every job you go on, you had to have spent some money. So how much money do you have to spend? And I do a really fun budget workshop for classes, and I run like a couple $1,000s around the room. So we could take a $10,000 lighting job. And basically what we're saying is that $10,000 lighting job, we're going to spend 4,000 of it on materials and labor to get the job done.
Yep.
Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay. So then what that means is that $10,000 lighting job, we have $6,000 left, right?
Yep.
4,000 is gone. That went to Emory Allen and to our technicians. And we pay our technicians well and we give them good benefits. I'm in California. That's important to me. Okay. So then we have to pay ourselves, us, the owner. So we deserve to pay ourselves enough, and see how my pricing is different than everybody else's, to feed my family. So then I got to put in, how much do I need to make for every job? How much do I deserve to make? What if I said that you deserve to make 30% of every job?
Dang.
That would be nuts, right? That would be
Wow.
crazy.
Yeah.
What if I said you deserve to make 20% of every job? What if I said it doesn't matter what I say, it matters what your family budget needs? Like, what's your mortgage? How many kids do you have? And what's your lifestyle? Like, how much do you like to spend? Okay. But you need to figure out, how much do I need to make as the owner to figure out a budget? And then you need to call your shot about how profitable you want to be. So most people, they wait until after all the accounting's done to figure out how much their net profit was. The way I like to budget is I determine net profit first. So we have a rule at Likes Accounting: in order to be able to work with us, you have to be double-digit net profit. So we will not work with anybody who insists on investing in the future success of their business or running it close to the line to avoid taxes or whatever. We believe that you can do really, really well and still be double-digit net profit. I'm a good friend of Tommy Mello's, and Tommy Mello is going to do, I can never keep up, it's like 250 million, maybe 300 million this year in 2024. And he's going to do it at 27% net.
That's so crazy.
That's insane. But
That's insane.
I'm sorry, if Tommy can do it at those crazy numbers, then you can do it at your crazy numbers. And you know what it takes? Courage, good pricing, discipline. We all have that. We just have to dig deep to find it. So I say, put in your net profit. That's important. And then there's like we have to do a little bit of like a mental exercise to figure out the last input. And that is your marketing. So normally at this point, we'll know how much you have left. So that $10,000 job, we spent $4,000 of it on materials and labor. Let's say we spent $2,000 of it on paying us. We spent $2,000 of it in profit because like we had to save for our profit. We only have $2,000 left. That $2,000 that's left would be for all of our, we call them overhead expenses, for the office, for the education, for the truck, for the insurance, like all of the other expenses that go into a job. And so that, what we just were trying to do is called job costing. Job costing is way harder, like figuring out every job, but budgeting is super simple because guess what? Just like we did the personal budget in 10 minutes, you know how much your expenses are every month for your business, roughly.
Yep.
If we were to give you a laundry list, you would be able to tell us with like probably within a couple $100 how close we were on your spending, because our rent doesn't change. Our shop rent doesn't change every month, right? Our insurance doesn't usually change. Our salary for our office person doesn't usually change. So kind of figuring out, what do I need to spend to run this business? And then here's the super fun part. Once we have those numbers, then it tells us what our revenue goal is. Do you see how we built a budget backwards? Most people start with revenue at the top and they're like, okay, here's my cost of goods sold, and here's my owner's pay, and here's my marketing, and here's my fixed expenses, and then here's my net profit. Well, we didn't do it that way. We did all those inputs to figure out how much do I have to make. And if you do a budget this way, here's the guarantee. You will always break even because you have to hit the revenue goal in order to get the other inputs done.
And your profit.
Now,
Yeah.
if you sit down, then you're like, and we'll give you a little worksheet for this. I've got a handy.
When you say break even, the formula will break even, but you still made 20% if that was your number in there. So it's not truly breaking even.
It's break even plus 20% net.
Yeah.
Which is just healthy.
I think it's amazing because, like you said, everyone else just does it backwards, and then they're like, "Man, where'd all the money go?" And it's like, well, this is where it went. And so when you budget, plan, like put the numbers in, it's like, what has to be true for me to be able to pay myself 20% and make 20%? Well, this is the formula.
And those percentages might be different for you. Like you might be doing most of the labor. So maybe your percentages look different because you're an owner operator listening to this.
Yep.
So take a minute to like really think about, what did she say? And use our little worksheet. But here's the epiphany that will happen after you use the worksheet. Most people, the number in the expenses row is too low. Like they're spending way more than the budget allows. And that is an epiphany moment, right? Like we do the budget, we're like, oh shit, I actually need to give myself a haircut. I actually need to. I had one person last week and she gave up her office space. She decided that was just pure overhead that she wasn't using. It wasn't in the budget. She wrote the landlord during the class and she gave up her office space.
Wow.
I had one person that said, you know what? There's no way I'm ever going to be able to feed my family. I have to increase the revenue goal. So she increased the revenue goal. And then we're going to get to what you do when you increase the revenue goal. That was huge. I had one person, she gave herself a pay cut. Because like, that's the thing. Like if you're paying yourselves too much and the business can't afford it and you're not willing to grow or sell more, then the place it's got to come from is your pocket. And that's why we start with what we need to feed our family. Because if you can't feed your family, then you can't afford to give yourself a pay cut. Right?
Yeah.
So because it kind of gives you some insights about where we're being, and I'm going to use aggressive language. So trigger warning, be careful, where we're being lazy. Most of the time, that's what happens. We're too lazy to go to a budget. We're too lazy to look at our budget. We're too lazy to preserve our bottom line. And if you feel like I just attacked you, I did that on purpose to inspire action. So that was aggressive language on person. Yeah. So stop it. Prove me that I'm wrong, that you're not being lazy, and go preserve that bottom line. Because as entrepreneurs, that's like our number one job. What did you say, Ryan? Like our number one job is to make sure we don't run out of money so we can keep playing.
Yeah, no, I do feel attacked, but I agree with you. I'm not going to argue. This is good, man. This is, it just takes away the unknowns, because people are always asking, well, how much should I pay a person to do this? How much should I spend on advertising? How much should I? It's like, well, it depends. And people hate that answer, but it's the right answer.
Or what if the answer is, how much can you? It's so many people talked to me about marketing last week, and like Ryan and I last time we got really into this because let's say that you do this exercise and you need to grow revenue by like 60% or 100%. Like most people say, well, I got to go give Google some more money. But what if your budget says you can't afford to give Google any money? Then what do you do?
Well, do you want to know what I would do?
I would love to know what you would do.
Because I believe this. I think whoever can afford to spend the most money to acquire a customer is going to win. So I would raise my prices and make my budget work for what I need.
Okay, so can we? So let's. I want to hit that KPI because that is such a good. This is like my favorite thing. So we're gonna hit that KPI in just a second. First, in all those things we just mentioned, we gave you 3 KPIs. So we're sneaking into this budget discussion is 3 KPIs. KPI number 1 that we gave you was cost of goods sold percentage. If you spent the next, here's a shocker, there's only 10 weeks left in the year. If you spent the remaining, okay, maybe when this records, it might be 9 weeks or 8. Look at a calendar. However many weeks are left when you're listening to this is how many weeks are left in the year. Okay, it's less than 10. If you focused on your cost of goods sold percentage for the remaining weeks of the year, you would make more money. Like if you focused on bringing that percentage down, and Ryan's got lots of tricks for how you can bring it down. Focus on bringing that percentage down, you would end up with more money bottom line in your bank account. So cost of goods sold is 1 KPI.
Love it.
Net profit percentage, you should be looking at this every single month. And this is a game against yourself. And Meaghan said she won't even talk to you if it's less than 10%. And I really feel like there's no excuses. Like you could raise your prices tomorrow and fix it and be double digit in the next 30 days. Like don't take the lazy button, right? So you need to focus on net profit. That's another KPI. And then the sexiest one, the one that Ryan loves the most and everybody likes to talk about, is revenue. Revenue is actually a KPI. Driving revenue is a KPI. Focusing every week on, I'm going to go back to Ryan's example from his Ryan rant earlier. Did I get 2 clients at $20,000 this week? That's $40,000 in revenue. That is a KPI. If you didn't, then what am I going to do next week to get 3 so I can make it up, right? So revenue is a KPI. And then let's go into, do you feel like we can leave them with those 3 KPIs and we can go into your client acquisition cost?
Yeah, keep going.
Is that helpful? Okay. All right. So now Ryan started to go down a rabbit hole, which I love and hate this rabbit hole. I mostly hate it because it makes me feel dumb. So Ryan, I need you to help me like not feel so dumb. John, do you know John K? Farmer John, Karma John,
No.
John Karmazan, the guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah,
you know John.
I know John.
Okay, John K. Yeah.
But I didn't know it
So-
was by John K. I know John Karmazan.
Well, I have a hard time with those last names. So then I Karma John, Farmer John, John K. All right. Or Karmazan. I think that's his. I say.
You just say it fast.
John.
But yeah, I know.
That's right.
Say it fast.
Yeah, I'll just like mumble.
Karmazan.
You
John
said
K.
it right. K. Coach K. Coach John. I don't know. That guy. He has this math figured out, and I must text him at least twice a month asking him, what's the math again? Can you help me? I can't figure it out. So here's what Ryan was trying to say. He was trying to say the person who can afford to spend the most to acquire a customer wins. And what I've found in business is none of you know how much you can afford to acquire a customer. So Ryan, if you have a magic formula for them, I would love it. I'm going to start with my formula and then you can come back. So that KPI that we're talking about is called the client acquisition cost. So how much did we spend to acquire a customer? And the way we calculate the client acquisition cost is our total advertising and marketing spend divided by our total number of new clients. And you can choose any period you want. So you could say for yesterday or for last week or for last month or for last year. But total ad spend divided by number of new clients in the same period. That is client acquisition cost. Once you know that number, most of us kind of look at me like, okay, well, I want to make it better, right? I want to spend less to acquire a customer, or in Ryan's case, more. But how do we know that it's good? How do we know how much we can afford? I'm sorry to put you on the spot, but you said like those that can afford the
Oh,
most
you're asking
win.
me.
Yeah, I don't know.
Wait, is this is not a rhetorical question? You want me
I
to
literally
answer?
don't know the answer. Only John Kay knows the answer to this, and I wish you were
You
here
know,
because we could like
can we do
phone
a
a friend.
lifeline? John,
Can we? John, help us.
we should have
He
planned this
cracks up.
better.
We should have
So,
planned this better.
how do we know what the number is? Well, we know what the number is based on the budget. That's how we know. Because honestly, like for me, I'm willing to spend more, but I also have more in it because I'm charging a higher price. So people that go, well, I don't understand how you do that. How can you spend $1,500 to acquire a client? I'm like, easy. Every time, if you just like gave me a client that was going to give me $10,000, I would give you $1,500, and I would repeat that process as many times per day as possible because my budget allows for me to spend 15% of my revenue on that acquisition. If you are charging a lower price and you're like, dude, I can't afford that. I can only charge 300. Well, then you're not going to, your Google ads budget's not as big. You can't do direct mail like I can. You're not going to be everywhere. Your branding it's just not going to be as well known. So that's what I mean is like if you can outspend your competition, if you can grow faster with your brand and do all that, you're going to get to the state of momentum, which most people don't ever get to. You're going to get to that state of momentum a lot faster than if you're just the $300,000 company. That's why I always use 1,000,000 because I'm like, really, you want to get to about 2 to 3 million. That's a cool gravy train to sit in where you like don't have to do a lot except for like go to the mailbox and get some money out of it. But there are people that want to stay small and you can, but when you break your knee, like good luck making money. So I think I don't know. I like the number 15%. We didn't always stick to that because not everything's scalable. Just because you do a direct mail campaign and you spend $5,000 and it works really well, it's not like, oh, well, let's just double that and we'll double our success because the routes might be different. There's a lot of different variables there. So you can't always scale your marketing spend and scale your business. This is why you have to measure these things.
I love that. And I did some math while he was talking. So he said 1,500. And here's the crazy math. So back to the ranting Ryan or the Ryan rant. You got to come up with a betterment. Like this got to have like we're going to coin something there.
Please do.
But back to that, he shared with us how to build $1,000,000 business with 100 clients. If we spend $1,500 to acquire those 100 clients, we're going to spend $150,000 this year in marketing.
Yep.
Most of you are going to turn green in the face when I say those numbers. You're like, there's no way in hell I'm going to spend 150. Well, here's the reality. Like he knew to get to 1,000,000, he needed 100. In order to get those 100 that are the right ones, he needed to spend 1,500. That was math. No feelings there. He now has the power. When you do a budget at the beginning of the year of $150,000, imagine if you could direct that. Like, okay, Google, you get this much. Okay, Facebook, you get this much. Okay, dope marketing, you get this much. I'm telling you how much you get. And I'm telling you that this is when I fire you, is when I don't get the number of clients back that I need to get back, right? Because I'm telling my business what to do. Now, here's the crazy cool part about math is when Ryan then said he was going to double his average ticket to $20,000, he only needed 50 clients. Ever remember that? Same $1,000,000 business. Now I only need 50 clients. Same $1,500 to acquire them. Guess what happens to our marketing spend? It goes in half. Now we just have to spend $75,000. Now we can afford to spend 7.5% instead of 15% on marketing. And this is really, I think, where the rubber meets the road. And that we were saying last week, we were joking in the budgeting workshop, that's a budgeting 200 class. That's like the next level of class is when we start getting into nerdy, what we call marketing attribution. But here's what you need to know for today. And I hate when we get down rabbit holes and then people feel confused. So I want to bring us back to our clarifying point. Our clarifying point is start with how much money you need to feed your family. Like I think I've said that 100 times, but until you hear me and actually do it, it doesn't work. So personal budget first, cost of goods sold, like figure out how much you have to spend to make money. Like this is a real number that we need to get really comfy and cozy with. And then call your shot on net profit. Like how much net profit do you want to make? And then from there, you can actually set your revenue goal. And once you set a revenue goal, then you can set your marketing budget. Most people do it the other way around. Revenue
So-
goal, then marketing budget, then it all kind of feeds out, right? Oh, you
Yeah.
don't like it. Go ahead.
No,
Argue. I'm ready.
I
Give
love
me
it.
the face.
No, I'm like, this is perfect. And if it doesn't work, if the numbers don't work and you're like, well, wait a minute, how am I going to buy my hot tub? Then you either don't buy a hot tub or you buy a hot tub and change something else in the, like you have to, it's math does not lie. Like you said, it doesn't have emotions. Like it's 100% is 100%. Like as soon as you
If you want a
overspend,
hot tub, go put it in your freaking budget and then go make more so that you hate your budget, right? Like
yes. But here's
that's
the
the
other
best.
thing.
The beautiful part about budget is you can budget in the hot tub, like, and you should. And
People,
I remember the first year we budgeted in a new computer, or the first year we budgeted in a vacation. I mean, it felt different. Like it felt so sweet because we're like, now it's not like usually like a stressful event. Like, or you budgeted in a new vehicle, like a new work vehicle. It's always like, oh, the transmission went out, and oh man, I gotta go. But what if you like were like, hey, I know this truck's like getting old. I'm gonna just throw a new truck in the budget for next year. We're gonna do it like next March, and we're gonna put 10 grand down. And then like next March, you get to start shopping for the perfect truck. Like that's, you took the power back. Like you
yeah,
made the feeling feel better. You're telling your money like, hey, I got 10 grand that I get to go spend, not I have to go spend.
I love that. It's literally running your business instead of letting it run you. Um, I think there's just a couple things that we should mention that you can change. So you can plan for it. I pricing is so important, and it's hard for people to understand this. You mentioned earlier, let's say you're making 10% net profit or nine, but you need to get to 10 to work with Meaghan. Well, I believe in overachieving. So we're going to double your profit. Most people just have to raise their price by 10%. Especially if you're making 10% and you raise your price by 10% and that money goes straight to your bottom line because you didn't buy a hot tub, you just doubled your profits. Is that math?
It's such good math.
That's
The
crazy.
first time I've been through Landscape Lighting Secrets, for those of you that are like listening to this, I've actually like spent a lot of hours listening to Ryan, and that class I like watched 3 times because I was like, this is so good. He made it so easy. Like math. It's just math.
It's just math. So like if the formula doesn't work and you're like, wait a minute, I was writing down what Meaghan said, but now I got confused because where's the money for marketing? I only have like 2% or 1%. That doesn't have to be your reality. You can change the formula and make marketing 20% if you want, like you can make it what you want. And I want to encourage everyone to understand that it's not just about that client today. The lifetime value of landscape lighting is insane because one, the average ticket's like 10 grand, but then they're going to add on lights. They're going to start with their front yard, do their backyard later, vice versa. They're going to get richer 3 years from now, build a new house. It costs more money, do bigger, more lights. They're going to do their lake house. They're going to do referrals. If you're doing it right, if your customer service is on point, your follow-up, all these other things that we're not going to talk about today, that's how you justify the higher spend. That's how you justify is look at the long-term effect here. And as long as you don't run out of money and you stay in the game long enough to play the game, you'll start to experience that momentum and things that come down the road. And then you'll see, wow, my revenues keep going up and my budget kind of stays the same. So like you said, now all of a sudden it goes from 15 to 7.5 to 6 to 5. I mean, mine was always, I think it's 5 or 6. I didn't get below that, but still that's a good
But
feeling.
the fun part about that is that spread, that difference. You know where that goes, guys, listening to this? Your bank account.
Yeah.
When we say bottom line, we mean bank account. When we went back to the beginning of this, if you're feeling like you are stressed for cash, you're feeling like there's not enough to pay yourself, we're saying, we're sorry, we've been there. That's a really crappy feeling. And take back that power. Go do some math and change your story next week. Favorite part about raising prices is it literally equals more money in your bank account next week. And can we leave them with one more math, like confidence building exercise?
Do it.
Okay. Let's say we put on, I've got a woman that works with me and she calls herself my hype girl. And she asks me all the time if I packed my big girl pants. They're like the brave, like courage, big girl pants.
Nice.
And if I'm ever having like a teeny tiny pity party or a Moby party, she'll be like, do you need to go change? Like, I could have sworn that I saw you put in the suitcase the big girl
Did you
pants.
pack
Like,
those? Yeah.
Didn't you pack that? Like, do you need to go put them on? Do you need a moment to go get your big girl pants? Okay. So
I've
and
got my
I
big girl pants on
understand-
right now. I'm
Okay,
ready.
I understand most of your listeners are men, so you can call them. That sounds different though. Big girl pants. Like, let's just call them big girl pants. Like,
Let's just call them big girl pants.
let's have a Mel Gibson moment about big girl pants.
Put
Okay,
them on.
so
All right, they're
there
on.
you go. All right, so let's assume you got your big girl pants.
Let's just
And
assume
you
I'm wearing
decide-
pants.
Let's not go there. Like, that's a big assumption. All right, and you decide, I am sick of being broke. I'm sick of being poor. I'm sick of being stressed out. I'm sick of not paying myself. I'm just working too hard. And I just got a big dose of confidence from Ryan's rant. So I'm going to go double my prices. Screw 10K. I'm going to 20K. Double my prices today. Now, what happens if we lost 40% of our clients because we doubled our prices? Here's the crazy part about the math. So $10,000 average ticket. Let's say that 10 clients said yes. What is that? That's $100,000, right?
Yep.
Now we've got a $20,000 average ticket and only 6 clients say yes.
$120,000.
$120,000. Do you see what happened? We made more working for less.
Plus, that's way more profitable. That 120K
Plus,
actually
that
has
20,000 goes straight to the bottom line.
Yeah, I love it.
I do too. So go find some confidence. Stop taking the lazy way. Yes, I'm saying aggressive language. Go do some math. Do a budget, and then celebrate with us. Tell us how it goes. Tell us how this changes your life, because this literally will change your life tomorrow, starting tomorrow.
Okay, you're amazing, Meaghan. How do people get in touch with you? How do they connect with you online? What do we want people to do?
Yeah, so my online handle is Meaghan Likes Money, because I really do like money, and my last name really is Likes. Meaghan Likes Money. My accounting company, if your financials are not telling you a story that makes sense, or they're just not speaking your language, that means you probably have the wrong bookkeeper. So reach out to us. Our accounting company is called likesaccounting.com. And if you want to just connect socially, I hang out on Facebook. That's showing my age, not yet into all the other cool things, but I'm a Facebooker. So reach out to me on Facebook. I'd love to get to know you and celebrate you and celebrate you feeding your family. So you can do this. My mission is to inspire you to make more, save more, and give back generously. So I'm excited for that.
You're amazing. Thanks for giving back to our community.
Yeah.
Thanks for all the stuff that you teach me all the time we meet. So
Thanks, Ryan.
yeah, you're amazing.
And thanks, listeners. Yeah.
Everyone, now the hard part, you just got to go implement it. But we have very simple things. So go implement, guys. Go crush it. Go make some more money. Get that freedom in your life. Have a good one.